Hello everyone, welcome to Another Day in the Car. I'm Jules, and in this video I am attempting to clarify how long it took at each stop and when he went and what the distance was between them. First stop was that RTD station. The agent says that they do not have a picture of Barry doing any trash dumping. 8:10 a.m., the driver and the passenger doors opened and closed 20 feet from a trash can. Trash stop number 2 also was not caught on camera. 8:12 to 8:20 a.m., so 2 minutes after leaving the RTD stop, he parked at the south side of the Holiday Inn Express, hoping to slip in for free breakfast if anyone came out. That side is indeed the south side, and the north side is where the dumpster is. 8:12 to 8:20, Barry was parked there. Then he drove around to, I guess, over by the lobby. He entered the motel at 8:25. That's when he did his check-in. At 8:38, he was in his room. At 8:41, he texted Suzanne. He was in his room until 10:09 when he left the room and went to his truck carrying boots in one hand and a Target bag in the other. And then he returned to the room empty-handed. He was in the room for another minute or two, and then he left the room, drove around the wall. That drive was 0.7 miles, and it takes about 2 minutes. And then from the job site, he went to McDonald's. McDonald's is 1.8 miles from the job site and should take 5 minutes. The McDonald's is what they're calling Trash 3 and Trash 4, because he was seen on the ATM cameras putting a small item of trash into the can, and then he put a second small item of trash in there, and this time he shoved down in the trash can, and his hands went down below the surface of the trash can. And he's claiming those were wrappers. From McDonald's, he went to the gas station that has the car wash. The car wash is a full-service car wash. They've got a full staff of people washing the cars and drying them when they come out. That is 0.2 miles. After the car wash, he went to a Men's Warehouse, which is 0.3 miles from the car wash and takes about 3 minutes. He was there at the Men's Warehouse parking lot, and it was 10:52 when he got there. They stated that he was in the parking lot and that they called the Men's Warehouse because there are only 3 functioning stores in that whole lot anymore. And there's Men's Warehouse, an exercise equipment, and a toy store. But it's also an RTD bus stop. There's also a walking trail near there. Anyway, he was there for 40 minutes. At 11:20, he called Suzanne. Her phone picked up, but it hung up after 3 seconds. Sorry, my cat's making noise. At 11:32, he left Men's Warehouse and went back to the hotel. And that's 0.9 miles from the Men's Warehouse to the motel. About a 2-minute drive. He took a large notebook with him. It had a whole bunch of messy papers sticking out of it. And he went into the room. When he came back out, it was close to noon. Came out with the notebook and papers, but it was a lot neater, better arranged. And around noon, he arrived at the job site, which, as I mentioned, is 0.7 miles, a 2-minute trip. At 12:06, he called Mallory. And then he worked on that site. They said about 15 minutes worth of work. At 12:26, he was back at the motel. 0.7 tenths of a mile, 2-minute drive. And that is what they call dump run number 5, because it is caught on camera. And that is the one where he's seen taking a couple bags out of his truck, setting them on the curb, getting the camouflage colored, possibly fabric, they couldn't tell what exactly it was, and putting it on the curb, and getting out the plastic pot thing that they think is for a tree or a shrub, and he put it on the curb, and then he went back to his truck, and then he went back over to the curb, and then he grabbed all that stuff up in his hands and carried it one trip over to the dumpster. And then he headed back into the hotel, and he stayed in the hotel until that evening when he went and put tools in the lobby and headed back to Salida. So I did the calculations, and so I added up the mileage, and he put 6.1 miles on the vehicle. And according to the testimony, 2 of the 5 dump stops were on camera. One was at McDonald's, and they called that 2 separate things, even though it was the same trash can, and it was 2 objects though. And the other one is that big one at the dumpster. I know we've all about had it up to our ears with the whole bicycle thing, but there's some interesting points to that, and it's why I've been asking questions. The helmet was found 4 days later, but there had been so many people searching, I don't know why it wasn't found before that. And 2 days before the bicycle helmet was found, Barry was at Poncha Springs Market, and he was saying he was looking for Suzanne. They asked for a description. Instead of describing Suzanne, he put down baby blue bike helmet and biker clothing, which is pretty darn weird if you ask me. The next thing was, I asked in our community about any cyclists that would know the answer. I was at the remote location during the first 2 days of the preliminary, and that's where I intend to be for the last 2 days as well. I had really good sound, but I couldn't see the video footage of the body cams by law enforcement. But I was hearing the descriptions of... But as I was hearing the description of the bicycle being found, it turned out that when it was found, the front wheel was locked, and the description I've gotten in our community is that there is sometimes a button that people can use to lock the bike if they're storing it or parking it, and it doesn't just happen by accident, and that ordinarily if somebody's riding the bike, that button won't be pushed. And that's what the officer was talking about, was that wheel was locked, that button was pushed, and when he brought it back up to the road and he hit the button again, the bicycle was fine. So it seems that the bicycle was parked when it was either tossed into that location or taken to that location and parked there. All pretty strange bits of information. And that's it for the rundown. Thank you for watching Another Day in the Car with Jules. I'll see you in the next video.